How's that? How's that? No, mech.
Wish I was in a battle for more battle function, but you know.
Activating poison cancellation. Entering location. Difficulty.
Poison out right now.
Hostile construction initiated.
I know why vehicle. Fix it.
When they give like the put on your backpacks, and actually put one kill them.
Uh-oh.
Console online.
What are we gonna do? I got three at the end, right? Yay. That mean I'm about 3 inch. 3 plus. Blah 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 blah. This door purely leads to Ed. Thank you very much, senor.
Medium. Hostile construction initiated.
No. No. How? I'm frozen.
Is that what happened there?
Telling you, this fucking game. This fucking game.
Seriously, right? Nemesis?
Yeah. Fuck you.
This shows you party with us. Shall we until he comes back, start over?
Alright, go, see. I don't think the loading screen's gonna make me fucking come back, but I can't do nothing. Nothing in the game.
Probably won't, because it just throws the screen won't change it.
That's bullshit. God. Fucking believable.
Here she is.
Alright, hey, what's up everybody? Sorry for the delay. There's always a whole bunch of stuff that I gotta do before these streams. A lot to prep to make sure it's as smooth as possible for you guys. So once again, thanks for joining. Thanks for checking out my channel. Thanks for being here with me on a Saturday. We're gonna learn and grow together. That's the whole point of these things. It doesn't matter what program you're using. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you have. It's time to just jump in, alright? It's time to jump in and learn and practice our passion together. So today I've wanted to do this for a while, but this tutorial is basically going to go over how to track your footage here, and we're not even gonna comp anything into this footage. We're just using this as camera data. We're gonna take this 3D tracked camera data and we're going to build out a 3D scene. I'm using Cinema 4D. You can use whatever you want. We're going to build out that 3D scene, and we're going to use this 3D tracking data and apply it to that scene in order to give it a bit more realism. Now, obviously, I think the faster way to do this would probably be to actually hook your iPhone up to your camera and do this in Unreal Engine, but I'm not quite there yet. So I'll certainly have a tutorial on that later, but I still have a lot more research to do before I can confidently jump into Unreal and bring you guys through that process. I don't want it to waste your time here. I certainly want to be as pointed as possible with these streams. So before we jump in though, just a couple announcements for you guys. The last couple weeks have been huge for my channel. Thanks to you guys, I really appreciate it. You've checked out my videos. You've been leaving comments like crazy. So I put out my photoreal VFX full VFX workflow video, and that's got 32K views. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. There's a whole bunch of comments in there, and this is an hour-long video. It goes through my entire workflow when I'm comping like VFX, live action. Sorry, so many words. It goes through my whole workflow basically when I'm trying to put in like realistic-looking CG elements in the live action footage. And then I also dropped this custom HDRI tutorial video. And unlike the live streams, these are actually, produced videos that I took time to edit and whatnot. And it's at 36K. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And it's full of great comments as well, great questions. With the custom HDRI thing, I released a HDRI pack. The link is in the description. And with the photoreal VFX, I think that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I just really appreciate all you guys stopping by the channel and helping me out here. It means a whole bunch. So if you're not subscribed already, definitely subscribe and leave a comment. What do you guys want to watch? What do you guys want to see in the coming streams? But I'll be doing my best as usual. You guys are always stopping by here. You guys know how it is. I'll be watching the chat here, but I'll also be focusing on the lesson. So I'll do my best, all right? And then also, there's a weekly challenge every single week. And that is set up through ran through the Discord server that I have. The link is also in the description. And we do one every single week. I announce the winners at the end of this stream, at the end of the lesson. And I'll also announce the new weekly challenge at the end of this lesson. So definitely stick around and let's make some cool stuff. Let's jump in. So we want to track this footage. Also a link in the description. Download link for the footage. I've been playing a lot of Last of Us, too, and you're squeezing through some dark, tight spaces, and that's certainly what I want to do. I have downloaded all of. Oh, this is a mess here. Let me show you guys. I got all these like barrels, ammo crates, boxes. Let me get rid of the cloner and just lay out here what I got. This is all from Megascans, and I used Bridge to bring all of these assets into C4D quickly and easily. There are super high-res 8K textures. And, oh yeah, another crazy bit of news. Guys, I got something really awesome in the works. If you look very closely, you'll see here, I am running a Quadro RTX 6000. With 24 gigs of video RAM here. That is huge. That is so much more than, I was on a, just a couple months ago, I was on a GTX 1070, and I think that had like 8 gigs of RAM, And then I got an RTX 2080, and that still had 8 gigs of RAM, but my goodness, 3 times more with the Quadro RTX 6000. I'm so amped. And that's actually, we're going to use the power of this card in this scene. We're going to have a whole bunch of these boxes and crates. We're going to stack these things up high. You ever seen the end of Indiana Jones 4? It's basically going to be like that, but like a real tight, narrow corridor that we're going to be squeezing through. And we're going to light it with some really cool, like, old vintage Edison bulbs. So that's the plan for the stream today. But we start with tracking our footage. So we can do it in After Effects with the After Effects tracker. Let's just run it and see what it does. Actually, real quick, before we run it, I know I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't need a JPEG sequence because we're not comping anything into this footage. So let's just, in After Effects, I'm just going to throw a 3D camera tracker effect on here and let it run. I'm not even going to mess with any of the settings here. I'm just going to see what it's going to do. And hopefully, this thing is blazing through. It's only 1280p, so, or 720p, sorry. But how you guys doing? How you guys doing in the chat here? We got some fans from India. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. I definitely want to visit at some point. That is high on my list to visit India. Very, very excited. I got a couple friends out there, so it'll be cool to visit them and explore the city. Or the country, the entire country, rather. Yes, Rotobrush 2. It's awesome. It's very fast. And it's really cool because you can actually expand your like working area so that if you have any fast-moving targets or fast-moving objects, the Rotobrush will actually be able to like catch up. And it's a lot more accurate. So it looks like this has tracked our scene pretty darn well. And I'm just scrubbing through looking at these points, and there's a no, it actually looks fine. And here's the thing, is it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as it's tracked for the most part, like, again, we're not comping anything into this footage. We're just taking the camera data, and we're using that. So I'm going to go ahead and lay a floor plane probably at this point here. So I'm just going to select, I'll select all these. I'll right click and set ground plane and origin. Boom. Actually, let me get just these guys. Set ground plane and origin. And let's go ahead and just make some solids here. So I'm just going to hold down shift and try and select 4 points that are kind of in a square. Maybe like these points here. Right click and create a solid and a camera. That's going to give us our solid right there. And if we scrub through, we can see that it's pretty much stuck to the floor. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a wall right here. So I'm just going to select the footage, select the camera tracker, and we'll make a plane right about here. We'll make a solid there. And I'm going to rotate this guy. Let's see. Let's rotate this guy up about 90 degrees. So I'm holding shift to rotate it 90 degrees. And you just want to line everything up so that your lines are pointing in the right direction. And this guy we can actually probably scale and scale. And I basically just want to optimize our scene. So I want to tell After Effects like where these points are. And honestly, I probably don't need to build out all this geometry. Let me think about this for a second. I tend to get ahead of myself in these streams. You know, I just keep going, charge full speed ahead, but it's nice to stop and think for a second. So, all right, I just want to have this, when I bring this into Cinema 4D, I want this camera data to be as easy to work with as possible. So maybe all we need to do is have our floor. I'm going to go ahead and parent the camera to the floor, all right? And this is going to optimize our scene. So what we'll do, I'm going to hit P, and since it is, you guys see here if I make a new solid, and I hit position, it's at 640 by 360. All right, so I want to lock in the same position for this red solid. So 640 by 360 to 0. All right, and since the camera is parented to this floor, nothing's going to change because they're moving relative to each other. But what happened was basically this is snapped to the center point. So when we bring this into our 3D space, it's going to be at 0, 0. Let's mess with the rotation as well and just zero everything out. And we'll put that at 270. All right, so that's just going to orient everything correctly. And then as far as scale goes, scale is always adjusted in Cinema 4D. I have to adjust it no matter what. So let's see here. So I'm honestly, yeah, I'll mess with the scale. I'll just show you guys. I'm gonna make a new solid, and we're gonna make it 3D, and you'll see it's kind of tiny down here, right? So all you want to do is mess with the scale of your floor, and since this solid is not parented to the floor, if I hold Control, it'll make these numbers slide at a lower or a slower rate. So you just want to get this solid so that it's about the size of your composition, something like that. And then you can just unparent everything. And every time you make a new 3D layer, it's going to sit perfectly right in the middle of your scene. So that's a really fast and easy way to optimize your scene in After Effects. And I know that I think Action Movie Dad put out a plugin to do all of that in like 2 clicks. So definitely check that out. Okay. So all I need to do is go to File, Export, Maxon Cinema 4D Exporter, and let's do tracking folder, and I'll just call that track, and we should be done with After Effects. Let me open up that file that we just exported, track. Okay, cool. And if I scrub through, you can see that our footage is just dropped perfectly in, and it looks really nice. So the idea here is we want to build out a like a little corridor. So if let's see here, if I hop out of camera view and we take a look at our 3D track, you can see certainly that's what happened in real life. I turned a corner. You know, we did a thing, and we just need to build geometry around all of this. So if I spawn a cube and we do something like this, right? And it's going to be a long corridor because I really want to make use of this this new graphics card. So we're going to fill it with a bunch of stuff. Something like that, and then holding Control to duplicate and R to rotate, holding Shift to snap. So we have this little corridor that we built for ourselves, and I'm going to go ahead and just make all that editable. Hit T, and let's group it, Alt G, and we'll scale it on the Y. And then let's just make a floor and hop back into camera and see what we got. Alright, so in the wall, we definitely need to push this back a little bit. So we'll go to top view just to see what's going on. So I'll push that back a hair. Perfect. And then let's see, what else do I want to do? I want to pull up my frame rate. I want to see if I'm getting a decent frame rate here. So I'm going to hit Alt V, and that's going to pull up our viewport options and whatnot. So I'll go to HUD, and we want, where are you? Frames per second. And that'll pop up here. So we're getting a great frame rate here. So we know that this is a true, accurate representation of, of time. And we come around this corner and we hug that corner real tight. That's awesome. So that trick, basically tracking your footage and using your real camera move as a virtual camera in a full 3D scene, that just kind of makes your 3D scenes or your 3D sequences feel a lot more real and a lot more alive because you're actually using a real camera. Again, if you were doing this in Unreal Engine, you would just hook up your phone or your iPad to the program, and you would mount it to just like your actual camera, a shoulder-mounted camera, and you would walk around your scene in real time. But again, since I don't know Unreal that well yet, I'm going to save that tutorial for later. All right, how's everyone doing so far? Yeah, the camera normalization script is the best. I hadn't installed it yet. I've gotten pretty quick at just doing it. I've watched this tutorial many times. Oh, Strange07, no sound. Can you guys hear me? If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Just want to make sure you can hear. I think, Strange, maybe you are the only one who cannot hear me, but we'll find out. Hopefully that's the case. All right. So, let's get our scale right. We definitely need to get our scale right. So I always spawn a figure, and the figure would tell us how big our scene is. So our scene is actually too large right now because that person is, if I'm 5'9", I want that person to be as tall as me, right? So what I'll do, if I actually start scaling up this null object that has our camera in it, it's not gonna work correctly. It's gonna snap back to its original position, and it's just not gonna be nice. So let me hop out of the camera view, and I'll show you guys how to easily fix that. I'll hide the floor for a second. We want to scale our scene from the center point so that everything scales proportionally. But before I do that, I want to just drop this into another null object. So I'm going to hold Alt and select a null. And this now is our camera. And I'll hit L to enable our gizmo. And I'm just going to zero out the gizmo. So it's sitting right there in the middle. So when we scale it, it's scaling from the ground from 0, 0, right? So to get this scene proportionally scaled, what we'll do is we'll go to coordinates, and we need to actually type in the numbers here. We can't scale it up and down. We can't use the scale tool because it'll just snap back to its original position. It's not going to work correctly. And you can see there, something happened where never mind, that's the null object. Okay, if I use the scale tool, you can see if I hit play, it's going to drop underground. Or wait, did it work? Does it just randomly work? Yeah, I'm underground, basically underground now, so we don't want to do that. We want to scale it using these settings here.
Oh, Hunter Sherry. Good job.